I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're delving into the emotional and gripping narrative of Why Us? Where is Hope? By J.M. Manning. This powerful story follows Jean and Sam as they grapple with the heartbreaking loss of a child, facing unimaginable challenges while searching for hope amidst darkness, with themes of resilience, grit, and the ever-present question of why us? This book resonates deeply with anyone who has faced life's toughest trials. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Janet, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Well, it's good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
This is an amazing story. It feels very real. Um, and I'm sure a lot of couples have gone through this, as tragic as that is, losing a child. Have you ever been able to answer the question, why do bad things happen to good people?
Well, that's the question that everybody has, that they're doing everything right that they're supposed to be doing. And just because they're doing it does not mean there won't be trials and there won't be bad things that happen to good people.
Yeah, we're not puppets on a string. We have
No.
a free will and there is randomness to the universe. And if it was as easy as just do the right things and you'll have a great life and everything will be perfect, I think everybody would just toe the line and that would be it. But unfortunately, there's this randomness to the universe, and people lose children and people lose spouses, and heartache comes. Tell us why you decided to explore this aspect of life.
Well, for one, as experience, as a person that has lost a child, I have lost one myself. Um, I know that sorrow, that pain as a parent, that longing for your child, and you have to go on. You can't stop.
I know. How do you keep on going though? I mean, you feel like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. How do you keep on going?
Well, as for me, what helped me is writing the book for one.
Hmm.
Uh, for another, I get on my knees. I go to my Heavenly Father. That's how I do it
Yeah.
and how I did it. Because I had two other kids, I still had to move on.
Yeah. You had somebody else to
Yeah.
live for. It was beyond your heartache at that point. It was your other children. Um, what do you hope readers take away from the book?
There is hope. There is always hope at the end of the tunnel.
Hmm.
Though, even though it gets the darkest and you think that it's never going to get better, there is always a light
Yeah.
at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah. In the book, you also talk about grit. Whenever I think of grit, I think of John Wayne and True Grit.
Yeah.
Uh, that true courage, that spirit in us that makes us endure all obstacles. Tell us what your thoughts are on grit.
Grit is actually my my uh, thought about grit is someone that actually just has that all the odds against them, and yet they still pick up and they move on.
Yeah.
And like my grandfather, for instance, he had cancer, and he was a type of man that believed that he was the man no matter what. And he was a farmer, and he would get out in his field, even though he was in pain all the time from cancer. He got out and he went on. He didn't just stop and was willing to die. He moved on.
Yeah. That is true grit for sure.
Yeah, it
Tell
is.
us about Gene and Sam, the characters you created. Are they based on your own experience? Was this the experience you and your husband had at the time? Or tell us about Gene and Sam.
Um, Sam was someone that it's a combination of people.
Mhm.
One of them was my grandfather.
Hmm.
One of them was my father-in-law. Um, my father-in-law I adore. He's passed in 2019
Mm.
from Alzheimer's, and he helped me through a lot of stuff. He really did. Um, and my grandfather too. He was they helped me through a lot of stuff. So they're very important to me.
Yeah.
And when I thought about Sam, I thought about them. When I thought about Jean, it kind of reminded me of some parts of me
Hmm.
and some parts of both of my grandparents, my grandmothers, um, because they got up and they moved on no matter what.
Yeah.
My one grandmother, she had two kids, two boys they lost from muscular dystrophy,
Mm.
um, and yet they moved on. They had more kids, they had to move on. So I learned a lot of grit from her, a
Yeah.
lot.
Tell us about the book. Give us an overview of what the folks at home will find when they crack the pages of the book.
Well, there is a mixture of a lot of things with the book. There is mental illness, there is abuse, there is racism, and there is just a question of why,
Mm.
um, because they're doing everything right.
Mm.
That's the thing. And they just are devastated with what has happened because they thought they were doing everything right.
Yeah. Let's explore some of those issues a little bit. How does the book look into racism?
Well, there is a couple incidents in there that there is, I don't want to give too much away,
Yeah.
but there is an older man that has a problem with colored people. And
Mm.
so I put that in there because I was raised to be pretty racist and I wasn't. I'm
Mm.
not, but I was raised that way. And back at that time, my grandfathers believed in that, and that's what, it was. Um, so I put that into the book because racism is going on even now.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
And we could be really cruel to each other
True.
and not know what they're walking and what their shoes are, that sometimes we need to stop and walk in somebody else's shoes for a while
Yeah.
to find out where they're going.
Absolutely. Live another person's life,
Yeah.
experience what they experience. It'll be a real educational experience and a real awakening, I think, for a lot of folks. Your book also addresses mental illness. Tell us about that
Yeah.
aspect of the book.
Well, myself, I have what they call ADHD and chronic depression.
Mm.
And there's times I have a hard time. So I know that if I'm having a hard time with certain things like that, because mental illness is really rapid right now, it really
Mhm.
is. And it's in my family, and we deal with it. Um, but in the book, I wanted it to be more like to where people can recognize really how hard it is for someone with mental illness, especially with chronic depression. It
Yeah.
can really take you down.
Yeah.
Um, it can take you, yeah, down into depths to where you can't even come out. You need help. And there's a lot of people that are like that now.
Yeah.
I think I think we need to really start looking at mental illness as a disease that can be helped because it
Agreed.
doesn't go away.
Yeah, agreed. It seems like it's largely ignored in this country,
Yeah.
and it's behind abuse, it's behind
Mm-hmm.
neglect, it's
Yep.
behind substance abuse, it's
Yep.
behind drug abuse, alcohol abuse. So many evils in this world are because of mental illness. Speaking of evil, your book explores that. Tell us about the
Yeah.
role of evil in the storyline and how it adds to the tension to the narrative.
Well, I can't give too much away because
Yeah.
there's going to be a sequel, so I
Okay,
can't give
great.
too much away. But there's a guy in there that is evil, and he is involved with the sex trafficking,
Hmm.
and he is bound determined to get even with that family one way or another. So he is trying to lure their daughter into sex trafficking.
Hmm.
So the next book will be on that, how they're trying to rescue her. But yeah, there is an evil presence in there that is really, he's found his way to get in and try to get even
Yeah.
with the family. And I can't tell you why, because that's part of the
Sure.
book, you know. But
Exactly.
it
Exactly. Have you envisioned this as a film?
I never thought of it, no, but there when I made the evil person, I
Mhm.
thought of, oh, I can't think of his name. Neil, he's got blonde hair and he's a Catholic and
Mhm.
he makes a really bad guy. Every time I see him in a film, I see him as a bad guy, and he
Right.
makes a great one. So when I wrote this book about him, about the evil one, I thought of him
Mm.
because he just plays a part so well. I don't remember what his name is, but
Well,
yeah,
that's what, well, half of the battle of making a good film is casting. So you've already
yeah,
got cast the evil person in this book. So I think that'd be great. I think it would be a great film. It's such a compelling story.
yeah.
It reminds me on some levels of like Ordinary People because it kind of grappled with those same questions of why us? That's
That's
about
why
the
I
death.
wrote it.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I wrote it, is
Yeah.
because it we need some more stories like this. We
Yeah.
do.
Absolutely, absolutely. The name of the book is Why Us? Where is Hope by J.M. Manning. It is a powerful story that follows Jean and Sam as they grapple with the heartbreaking loss, one of the worst losses anyone could ever face, the loss of a child, and facing unimaginable challenges while searching for hope amidst the darkness. It's an amazing book. It's heartbreaking at times. It's uplifting at other times. And best of all, it will instill you with hope, which is the author's purpose, of course. Janet, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
You are so welcome. And thank you for having the time to open up the air for me to be able to express what my book is really about. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
I appreciate your time and your insight and your candor today. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.